私のことをご存知でしょうけど、私はジョイと同じように争いを好みません。率直に言って、私は争いが嫌いです。ですから、もし察しなければ、さっさと終わりにしましょう。
Elizabeth Afton Peté, middle name pending, known to everyone as Betty, is the strongest stand user in Cosmic Connections and is probably top 5 overall. We definitely did not mean to do that. We wrote ourselves into a lot of corners. So unfortunately, CC was discontinued before we got to see what Betty can really do, but that's what this video is for. I'm going to do a mini-series of explaining CC stands and breaking them down. I'm sure y'all are interested in our main villain stand power, so maybe she'll be next. Before our first video in this series, we'll start with Betty. So strap in, this chick is Death incarnate. Yes, Death has a bowl cut. Now let's go over Betty Peté and her stand Rope Bunny, the strongest stand user. Okay, first off, let's get one thing clear. If you look up what a rope bunny is, you probably start asking some questions. No, Betty did not get it from that. She got it from the name of a villain from a movie series that she likes. That's it. You sick bastards. So anyway, Act 1 is the one that we all know, right? Betty can passively weaken and in some cases even deactivate other stands. As if that's not already broken enough, right? She's already a nightmare to literally everybody she fights. But the downside is that she herself cannot fight. So you could probably just beat her to death? There's actually an explanation to Act 1. You know we like to explain the magic around here sometimes. How much do y'all know about string theory? I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. So string theory is a theoretical physics concept that hypothesizes that everything in the universe is made of strings, and the strings fold and vibrate to make different particles. So if a cluster of them vibrates one way, you may get a quark, but if it vibrates another way, you may get a graviton. And these things are smaller than my future. In a pseudoscience-y way of picturing it, if an atom was the size of the solar system, a string would be the size of a tree. Holy dick! So this is the plane that Act 1 operates on. So it's actually a colony stand that eats strings. Like, that's the whole thing. The reason why stands get weaker around Betty is because these hungry little bastards are eating the strings of her opponent's stand. And yes, there are essentially an infinite amount of Act 1-ies in any given space. And I mean that quite literally. So here's the stand stat screen for Rope Bunny Act 1. Breaking it down quickly, Act 1's primary attack, Severance, is where she can simply just make your stand weaker depending on her proximity towards you. This is more of a support technique if anything. This works better if she's with someone on her team that actually knows how to fight. Now we're getting to a more traditional stand here. Act 2 is what you would consider Rope Bunny's actual form to be. First awakened when Betty thought Joy died at the hands of Asahi Shimura, Act 2 is an interesting case study. So what does this one do? Well, luckily for Betty, this one can actually fight for her, so her defense and offense shoots way up. Good on you, Betty. But the downside is that she loses the AoE given by Act 1. Instead, you can think of the Act 1-ies as being concentrated into these rope-looking things that have to be physically in contact with the opponent in order to weaken them. These things aren't super fast, and no, she can't just cell max it and shoot them out of everywhere, but she does get a boost in defense and close-range offense. She's able to wrap herself in her own ropes, and that makes her immune to all stand abilities, which is crazy. The downside is while she's doing this, she can't use her ropes during the fight anymore, but her stand itself got some pretty mean jabs too, so she's good. She actually uses this very technique to be immune to Star Platinum's time stop. Don't ask me why she was fighting Star Platinum, that's a completely different video. So here's the stat screen for Act 2, and yes, I know her stats look a little low, but it's her ability to aim her stand shutdown attack that really carries this one. Just by these two acts alone, we projected Betty at her peak to be able to take on Kira, which is crazy for this shy little girl. Clickbait, she's not the strongest stand user in the series. Well, now hold on, you troglodyte, I'm not done yet. You see, at the climax of the series, our main villain Fantasia teamed up with a now independent Betty and stabs her with the Requiem arrow, thus unlocking... This is why I say Betty is the strongest stand user in the franchise. Rope Bunny Requiem is an absolute unmerciful monster, dude. And it only does one thing. And that thing is very simple, but very horrifying. First off, it's extremely durable. And not on some GER can't really hit it type nonsense. No, you can hit RBR. You just likely won't damage it. When RBR first awakened, Joy used her Hamon-infused Nirvana to try and shut it down. And it didn't flinch. It was like Cell and Krillin, it didn't move. RBR kind of builds off of Betty's already existing stand ability, which is a little different from how normal Requiems work. So So Rope Bunny, as we know, weakens and deactivates other stands, either as a radius or as a concentrated rope. However, Rope Bunny Requiem's ability is not only shutting stands off, but removing them entirely. On a global scale. You see, RBR is the climax of the philosophy that Betty adopted from Fantasia. Stands are a net negative for the world and must be eradicated by whatever means necessary. RBR is not around for long. It awakens and does what it was called to do. It raises its hand and fires multiple blasts akin to Super Boo's human extinction attack and wipes out every single stand on Earth. And what do we know about destroying a stand? Kills the user. This singular act gave Betty the highest kill count in the entirety of Cosmic Connections, and maybe JoJo's as a series, other than Giorno if you want to count that. Of course, Betty didn't know that she was going to kill every stand user. That was something Fantasia knew and decided not to tell her, but the results are still the same here. Every stand user on Earth was killed in this one instant. Joy, Himi, Fantasia, Mia, none of them survive. And that one event marks the end of Cosmic Connections, with Betty Peté as the last living stand user on Earth. And so that's Betty. I know we didn't get to see her fully in action, but hopefully this video helps fill in those gaps a little bit. Let me know what character you want me to analyze next, whether it be Fantasia's OP time abilities or Joy's Hamon and Fuse stand. We really got creative with where some of these stands went. Maybe I'll run a poll, just let me know.